climb a tree.
Watch out.
Ah!
Hi there. Welcome to another episode of the Board Game Business Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Noon. I'm here as always with Brian Hink and Jeremy Commander. Today we're going to be talking about how to reach your core audience at a major con. Again, we're going to start with Brian. Did you have any promotions this time to try to draw people in? Like pricing or card extras, anything like that?
Bundle deals.
Yeah, what do you find most effective to bring in the crowd to make them sure that your audience is actually there?
We had a few things. One were our promo packs. So every time we run a Kickstarter campaign for a Good Cop, Bad Cop title or expansion, we include a pack of equipment cards that you get. And the Kickstarter backers get it exclusively for a while. And then after a while, we let everybody else have it too. And so we had those packs. We had 3 packs. One we ended up not being able to sell because it was for the Dice Tower pack. And they hadn't fulfilled to their backers yet. But we had from our last 2 Kickstarter campaigns a pack of equipment that people could get. So one promotion we had was on the first day, if you buy anything, any game, then you would get a free equipment pack, which is normally $5. I don't know how much of a draw it was. I mean, we got to talk about that on BGG and their preview, and so hopefully we that was something that got our booth added to people's must-see checklists. We were thinking people would they pick up a copy of Exposed, and then they played at the con, and we get buzz going for the con if they pick it up that first day. So that was kind of one of the reasons behind it.
Would you do that one again? Would you do the first day promotion again? Yeah. Was that worthwhile?
I think so. I think so. I would do that because I do think it. I mean, the promo packs don't cost us too much to make or bring to Gencon, and if they can get us added to those lists to get more people to come by our booth early in the con, I think it's worth it.
I know that the New Salem promo cards last year were on other people's lists that I saw that they sent me for Gencon, so that did have an impact. I think so. The idea behind the first day promotion is to build people's buzz for your game, so people buy it right away. They may play it at Gen Con, and other people may see it because people bought it the first day. People often spend all their game budget at Gen Con. They blow all their money. So if I can get them to buy the first day, it's more likely that they'll buy it, whereas day 3 where they're broke and they can't buy anything else.
I think a lot of people, the general thing they do is they go to the convention, they go check out all this stuff, they go to their events during the day, and then they go back to their hotel room, meet up with their friends, and they play games. And so all the games that they bought, they play them, and then they talk about them. And so yeah, we want to get our games played earlier.
It seems like any big publisher I see at Gen Con has some sort of deal, whether it's a discount or it's a buy 3 get 1 free or a bundle deal or something. You get the game and the expansion for this price. So I understand that retailers are sensitive to price discounts, but I feel like at a con that's pretty standard industry practice that there's some sort of promotion or deal going on. So those promo packs you have, are those been worthwhile? You think you'll do those for a future game?
Yeah, I think so. They're kind of a hassle in a lot of different ways. You can't sell them on like Amazon because the amount that it costs for them to pick and pack and ship makes it.
Because they're $5. So these promo packs are $5, right? It's the price you're charging for them, and you get a few cards for $5. And so it's not really worth selling that online. It's really got to be in person where you can bring a pretty big box of them and sell them by yourself.
But for promos in general, I would say kind of slam dunks are give them to BGG because you can give them to the Geek Store on BoardGameGeek.com. Send that to them. They'll give you a discount on ads. So we do that, and we'll always do that, and we'll keep doing that. And then we can use those ads for future games that we want to promote. And then bringing them to cons. Those are really the 2 places that I've found is a great way to do it because you can throw in a whole bunch of promo cards in your carry-on luggage, and then you can sell them for $5 each or whatever, or just give them away to people to try to get them to come to your booth.
You mentioned ads there. Did you advertise anywhere at Gen Con? They have the booklet. Did you advertise there? Have you done that before? Did you find it useful?
We didn't do that, no. I think I would consider it. The coupon book seems to be pretty popular.
I go through the coupon book every year and dog-ear the pages that I want to go to that booth and check it out. And that's a chance for a booth to get on my to-visit list that didn't make it before I went to Gen Con. And I do wind up going through and look at all those booths because they have an interesting coupon. I get $5 off a game, or there's a promo or something like that. I do look at, but you have to pay to be in the coupon book, and it's somewhat expensive. So you have to decide if that's worth that expense. Other cons, you ever pay to be in the program or pay to have a banner up or be a sponsor of a certain area of the con? Has that ever been worthwhile for you or not yet?
Probably not yet. We haven't really. I mean, I'm really scared to spend too much money on marketing right now because it's so easy to spend a lot of it. Everybody will take your money, to put something somewhere in a book or, hang something up for you, but it gets very expensive. So that's not something we want to do much of right now. The only thing we do right now is like Facebook ads, BGG ads, maybe like Kickstarter ads, that kind of thing for upcoming campaigns. But otherwise, we just kind of keep it to our newsletter, and we'll tell people about the stuff we're doing at Gencon in our newsletter. Maybe put that up on BGG, but really just kind of the free stuff. So
Codenames Pictures released at Gencon, and I did a Gencon pickup mostly because they offered this interesting thing where you would get it 2-3 months before retail, and you would get some promo cards. And the promo cards, they're not, there's no game text. They're just the things used to cover up correct answers. But they let you play the mixed version between pictures and words better, as you could play a full-size grid and have the larger size cover-up cards.
I did see a lot of fun stuff going on. For instance, at your booth, I worked that for a little bit. They had the walking challenge. And I know that drew quite a few people to the booth. Not always made them stay, but every once in a while, one of them would be like, okay, let me get my thing punched off and punched. Okay, great. So what are you guys doing here? And then they'd stay, and maybe we get a sale or something out of it. So I can sort of answer the question that I would normally ask you. Did that work? And I saw it work a couple times.
You know what? I think, thinking back on it, I think the walking challenge was my favorite part of Gen Con this year. Like, just doing that, creating these, so we had, for what people don't know, you can use you can use a Fitbit or Jawbone or Apple Watch or anything and hook it up to a campaign. We used a Stride Kick as a way to kind of sync up all those devices into one web tracking format where you can see where you stand in the competition. And we ran a contest. People could come by the booth to get missions. So I made up a whole bunch of missions. You need to go to this place, this museum, and take a picture of this thing, and you have to go find it there. All they would do, take a picture, they'd bring it back to our booth, they'd show us, here's my picture, and then if they want, they had like hashtag to tweet it out or put it on Instagram or whatever. And then we would give them the next mission, and each mission we'd give them would go be harder and harder. At first, it started out in the hall. They'd go to a couple booths, and then we took them a little further out of the hall into like the first exposure playtest hall, and then a little further to the food truck area, and then like a little further. So kept doing that, harder and harder ones. In every mission you accomplish of the missions that we sent out, you'd return that in, put your name on it, and that would be entered in for a drawing. I'm definitely going to do it next time. People loved it. It did get people to come to the booth too and check out some of our games that might not otherwise.
People really enjoy the Scavenger Hunt and the puzzles Gen Con does every year. They enjoy it. People who like that kind of thing really do enjoy it and look forward to that every year. Ben Bergal, who works with Jason Tagmeyer at Button Shy Games, when he does Unpub events, or like an Unpub Mini, he has this bingo game. And there's actually a website that will generate the bingo boards for you. You put in what the categories are, and they're like a game that has meeples, a game where you have red cubes, a game that takes 2 hours to play, and as you play those games or see them, you can stamp them off. And then you turn the bingo card in for him for a chance to win a prize.
So you stopped by, Jeremy, too, to promote Booze Barons. So you did a Be in the Game promotion. How did you make that happen?
Yeah, so I have like a wireless inkless printer that connects to my phone. And the idea is we would take your picture either in the booth or nearby on the nearby wall, and then drop the background out and put a color in to match one of the character colors in the Booze Barons game, and then I would print out it's a photo quality sticker, and it actually we'd stick it right on the chipboard from the game, and we'd turn one of the characters in the game into you. The one thing we didn't do is when we promoted it, we had a text blurb explaining it, but not a photo showing people the actual pieces. And if I were to do something like that again, I'd make sure that in the newsletter, the photo would go out ahead of time, or the Kickstarter update, the photo would go out so people could see what they're getting and not just kind of read about it.
And that's something that, a lot of times a designer will get a game signed by a publisher, and they just kind of like, okay, go ahead, sign my game. or publish my game, and then they're done with it. But you make yourself more valuable to publishers by doing this kind of thing, because I know if we sign one of your games, you're going to help as much as you possibly can to help promote the game, to do this kind of thing, to stop by for signings. And
what I've started doing now is I started my own sign-up list for prototypes. So people really like the prototype game. I have a little mailing list sheet with me and say, hey, tell you what, when this game eventually gets published or gets signed, if you want to put your email on here, we'll notify you that this game is now coming out. And so that I'm bringing a mailing list in addition to the game is another value add that I'm trying to do now when I pitch a game to the publisher. That, hey, I already have a built-in audience that wants this game that I can reach to drive more traffic to your Kickstarter or to give that initial pop. One more category for me that got me to go to a lot of booths. So there's discounts, promo cards, some bundle deals. I like to buy some Christmas gifts at Gencon because some places they have like a cheap game, they have like a $10 or $20 game, and if you buy a whole bunch of them, like $50 worth, you get an additional discount, and that makes them even cheaper to give as gifts. Mm-hmm. So I do like those. The other thing that got me to go look at some things was a preview of a game. So there are some games where they had like an early version. Sometimes it's just like made on a colored printer and laminated or whatever, but they said, hey, this is a game coming to Kickstarter in the fall, or we're going to plan releases with the expansion of the next game, and you could see it early at Gen Con and sort of playtest it in the publisher's booth. And there was probably at least 3 or 4 of those that got me to go to that booth and check that out, because now I could see it in person and ask some questions and decide, do I want to back this on Kickstarter? Do I want to pre-order this? And kind of that early release or that first glimpse, that preview, that was valuable to me as well. But I can also see how that would backfire, especially if the game is still rough or incomplete. Like a lot of the ones I looked at, that you could tell the art wasn't done yet, the layout wasn't done yet, the mechanics may have been done, but it was a very early version of that game. And there are some publishers that have a very adverse reaction to showing that early, because then people like go on BGG and leave reviews for an incomplete, not yet published game. Like, I didn't like it because the art was bad. It wasn't even out. It's not done yet. And I know some local publishers that we've talked to have had that experience when they showed an early version of their game, and people gave it a super critical review, including like on the art, like the TIMP art, when it wasn't done yet. But I did appreciate those early previews. I think you had, in your booth, Brian, you had a sample card for Leaders of Euphoria, right? Kind of a player reference card that was kind of to get people an idea about the game.
We had, going back to kind of like the banners in the booth too. That the Leaders of Euphoria banner that we had in there really drew people in to ask questions about that game. And we didn't have a whole lot to show. We had a prototype of the game. That's it. But one that I just kind of cobbled together, so it didn't look very pretty. But I guess in the future I'm going to try to make a better quality version to bring for those games that people are going to be excited about. And we actually. We printed out a big ray gun because just to show people. So it was like a laminated 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that we could just show them and see this game is cool. We talked about it, and then look at these ray guns that we have in there too. And the ray guns are like huge things that people are going to be pointing around, like a big selling point of the deluxe version of this game. And so we were able to just show them a picture, so we could bring that. Check out these in like actual size. So that worked really well to drive some buzz for the Kickstarter campaign, which actually probably will be about live by the time this airs. October 27th, that one's going live. So
look out for that.
Leadersofeuphoria.com. Go check that out.
I'm looking forward to those ray guns because I'll use them in other games too. They're cool looking ray guns. So I want to ask. So as a Kickstarter super backer, I've backed a lot of Kickstarter campaigns, and as a result, I just get tons of update emails every day. I have like one email address I just use for Kickstarter now, and it gets 5 to 20 update emails a day. Some days I don't even get 30 on a good day.
I've backed a couple campaigns now, and I get a couple every week, so I know what you're talking about. I can imagine the bigger volume.
I get a lot, and then I try to sign up for the game company newsletters on the same email address. and so that comes into the same address as well. So for me, before Gen Con, I wanted to know, who's going to be at Gen Con? Are they doing a promotion? Are they showing a new game? I do care about that. And so a lot of Kickstarter creators have sent out an update, hey, we're going to be at Gen Con, come see the game, or our next game, or our expansion. Here's our booth number. Here's where to find us. Here's the promotions or things we're doing. And some of them sent it to me a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance. And what I would do is I flag those emails and I'd put it on my Gen Con to-do list and write them all out. And then a lot of game companies, I guess they were caught up in the prep for Gen Con, or they were still doing stuff last week. They didn't think to send their newsletter or their update out to like the Sunday before Gen Con. And at that point I was packing and I had other things on my mind and trying to get ready. Or sometimes I didn't get an update till like Tuesday or Wednesday, the week of Gen Con. And I thought, I don't have time to read this email and figure out where your booth is.
Traveling by then.
I was, because I flew in Tuesday to be there Wednesday for trade day. And so I wanted to talk, maybe ask Brian, did you do a newsletter and Kickstarter updates before Gen Con, or just newsletter, and how far in advance did you do it?
We did a newsletter update. We did a couple, I think, Undercover, the Good Cop, Bad Cop Undercover, and the Exposed campaign were kind of in the fulfillment process, or had just finished fulfilling, so I was able to update them. It was more of just kind of like, hey, by the way, if you're going to Gen Con, check out these events that we're doing. I didn't try to highlight it too much. But then we also put it up on Board Game Geek, too. I think that was good. I don't think a lot of people do that, but we said, on the Exposed page, here's what you can do. Come check it out at Exposed. We're releasing it at Exposed. Or the Good Cop, Bad Cop page, come grab these promos for it. If you need an equipment pack, you can pick it up at Gen Con, that kind of thing, like just a post to their forums on BGG. So that worked well, too. And then, of course, the preview, the BGG preview, that gets a lot of attention, too, to highlight everything there. That's the best place to go. But I wasn't sure how much, because if I thought about it, I started thinking about how many backers I had on these campaigns, or how many newsletter subscribers I had, and then how many of them are actually going to Gen Con. And it's probably a pretty small percentage who actually are going to make the trip. And so for those 5% of people, do I want to talk about Gen Con too much and make them sad that they're not going? Like, here's all the cool stuff we're doing at Gen Con. And then for 95% of them being like, oh, but I won't go.
But you know what? They know someone who is going. Every year I have people who are on these newsletters or get this update, and they email me and say, hey, you're going to Gen Con. Can you go, like, let's see what Leo asked us to go buy something specific at the level 99 booth for him, or something else. Because so he said, hey, can you go buy this promo for me, or this special pack for me at Gen Con? Or can you go check this game out and tell me what you think? And so there is a network effect. Even if you're not going, if you know someone who's going, you may ask them to be your agent, or say, hey, you heard about this one? You going to check that game out? If you think it's really cool, buy it and we'll play it. And that you do have that chance to, maybe not everybody's going, but they know someone who is going.
I would like to hear from maybe our listeners or watchers if they put a comment about how it makes them feel. Do you want to hear about that, or especially from those people who don't go to Gen Con? Does it make you? Are you okay with people talking about it that much, or would you rather just focus on the game? Like, I backed a game, I just want to hear about the game, or just if it makes you feel sad to hear about Gen Con and not being able to go. I'd love to hear from people about that.
I noticed some people specifically timed their Kickstarter campaigns to overlap with Gen Con. Like, because we're going to be demoing the game at Gen Con, and then we can get people go online and back right now in our Kickstarter campaign. Or, it starts right now, and it seems like that overlap would be a nightmare, and that your campaign would just be drowned out by all the stuff going on at Gen Con.
Yeah, Brian's mentioned that before. I asked the question, did you ever want to run a campaign during Gen Con? And he was like, oh, no, I'm so busy during those 4 days. Like, I can't imagine doing anything else. So the campaign would just be unattended for 4 days.
And yet people keep doing it.
If you can find a way to do it. I mean, so for like Leaders of Euphoria coming up, that's going to end on BGG Con time. So like the last few days will be during BGG Con. And so, we were talking about, is there any way we can do this? So this is another opportunities for us to use Double Exposure Envoy. Again, another one of their services. They're going to demo Leaders of Euphoria out there at BGG Con for us. So people can play out there while the campaign's going on, and then talk about it, and hopefully we can get some of that buzz going too. So that's one solution for us. But yeah, I don't recommend running it during a campaign.
So one more promotion that I saw you running, you had T-shirts, and I think you're wearing one now, right? I mean, that's one of the
actually,
Gencon ones, right?
This has cat hair all over it. We did. So we've recently been working with Analog Gamer, who makes board game T-shirts, and so they have a store that they create. People can go buy. They can buy a good cop, bad cop shirt. They can buy a generic overworld game shirt, some different styles and that kind of thing. So it's great. And so he did a lot of work to bring all these shirts in different sizes over to us, have them ready at the booth. And I mean, overall, we didn't sell that many shirts. We only sold a few. You know, it's not like a big money maker or anything. It's cool to promote our company and our games and stuff with it, but it wasn't a critical thing. I wouldn't do it again. I would, if anything, I would have one shirt or maybe like one of each style shirt, and then I would have to send them somewhere else. Like if Analog Gamer created their own booth there, they had their own booth, we could have a couple and say like, hey, go buy this now. You want your size, go to their booth.
I've been your host, Richard New, and I've been here with Brian Hink and Jeremy Commander. If you have any comments or suggestions for us for our new format, I figure I'd mention it again. We are trying out something new. Please let us know. Otherwise, I'll see you across the table someday.
Hey, this is Richard to remind you that you can check out our website at boardgame.business. Old episodes are indexed by subject to make finding an answer to your question easier. You can find links to our BGG Guild, other networking sites, and, if you feel like supporting us, our Patreon account. Donations are used for equipment to improve the presentation of our podcast. Thanks for watching or listening.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.